What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another action-packed stream for you guys. A lot of deals that are signed, sealed and delivered this morning. And the first one...
Well, before we get into it...
good old Sonny Day.
It's someone's birthday today.
Sonny Day. It is Sonny Day today. So a big happy birthday to our captain, to our leader, to our legend. And that is Son Heung-min. 10 years at the football club. From signing in 2015, getting the captaincy, well, first of all, getting the Golden Boot in 2022, the captaincy in 2023, and lifting that trophy in Bilbao in 2025, and many, many goals and assists to go with it as well.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a player with a better goal collection than Son. He's got just so many bangers. It's unbelievable. One of the best players to have ever worn the shirt. Happy birthday to you, Son. 33 years young. Never seen a 33-year-old look so good.
Yeah, 100%.
So incredible.
100%.
And let's see if he stays. We're all kind of still waiting to see if he's going to be here next season, but I'm excited to, if he does, what the future holds with him. And look, massive happy birthday to our captain, our legend, our leader. Big up to him.
Yeah, so, you know, it's Sonny Day. It comes around once a year. Let us know how you're celebrating Sonny Day in the comments section. But big up to Sonny. It's just so proud to call you our captain. So proud to call you a Tottenham Hotspur player. And it's been 10 years that he's been at the club for.
Flown by.
Really
Absolutely flown by.
I really hope he stays, man. I really hope he stays. I know there are a few naysayers out there, but I'm just thinking, get this guy in the right positions. Don't get him doing it, you know, as much defensive work as did last year. Don't get him as much running as did last year, and we'll see the benefits. We'll see those goals and assists come back.
I think for me, it's just I'm not ready to say goodbye. I don't think I'm ever going to be ready to say goodbye, but I'm just not yet. I don't, is the story over? Is that what is that?
The story is not over.
Exactly. I want one last chapter for the Sonny story. Obviously, if it does end now, it is a great ending. But I just feel like, is there one more chapter to go? Is there one more?
Just one more
page to turn with Son.
One more opportunity.
One last dance.
One more opportunity to see him lift something else.
And maybe trophies can be like London buses for Tottenham. You wait so long for one, and all of a sudden you get a few in quick succession.
I'm down.
You never know.
I'm down. Let's do it. One more year, Sonny. That's what I'm saying. And you never know. If it goes really well, it could have 2 more years, Sonny.
Come on.
3 more years, Sonny. Who knows?
Never ending.
Exactly. The ageless. Timeless. Sonny is absolutely timeless. So once again, happy birthday. 33 years old today, which is, I can't believe he's actually 33.
I know.
But yeah, big up to Sonny. One last dance, please, please, please. But we have had an announcement from the club today. We've had a few announcements from the club today. But first and foremost, we're going to get into Kota Takai, who has finally been unveiled as a Spurs player. So we're going to get into that. And let's just line it up for you. So this was how it was announced on X. So if you scroll down, this was the initial video. How they do in that media room.
The classic fast-paced, switching, close-up, bouncing the ball video, which they love to do.
Yeah, this one's... I like this one, though. It's like a lot of kind of different graphics in the background.
It looks very good. It looks very good in that black kit.
Yeah.
Like all our players
I think everyone looks so good in that black kit. That black kit is such a nice one, isn't it?
I can't get away from the fact that home kit looks like a training kit. But anyway...
It's growing on me, the home kit, a little bit.
I still just screams training kit to me. Anyway, Kota, excited for him to join the team. Welcome to the club. Very highly rated. Everyone has a lot of positive things to say about him who's ever worked with him. Obviously, he comes in as for Tottenham fans' point of view, as a bit of an unknown quantity, as a youngster, a young kind of central defender, coming in with a lot of competition for his place immediately. But I think there's a lot to be excited about this signing for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think he's going to bring stuff that we're missing in the back line as well. Someone that can actually step in for Mickey van der Ven at left centre-back. That's not Ben Davis. I know Danso did it a couple of times last year, but I think Kota will just be a bit more kind of used to playing at the left centre-back role and just keep Danso where he's more comfortable on the right-hand side. His ball-playing ability, his aggression, his aerial ability, hopefully he can take to the Premier League like a duck to water. But Spurs also said, we're delighted to announce the signing of Kota Takai from J1 League side Kawasaki Frontale, subject to international clearance and work permit. And if we go and look at the website as well, there's a few articles on him. So the first one in the Takai deal agreed.
Yeah, that one.
So there's a big article here saying, we're delighted to announce the signing of Takai from J1 League side Kawasaki Frontale, subject to clearance and work permit. The Japan international defender has agreed a deal with the club that will run until 2030. Born in Yokohama, Kota progressed through the ranks at Kawasaki Frontale at just 17 years of age, earned his first team debut in April 2022, coming on in an 8-0 victory over Guangzhou in the AFC Champions League. The 20-year-old became a regular in the senior side, making 21 appearances the following campaign, following 4 outings for the team's run to lifting the 2023 Japanese Cup. An imposing figure at the back, Kota continued to impress and help the Azzurro Nero to the 2024 Japanese Super Cup. Later that year, he earned recognition for his performances, claiming J-League's Best Young Defender award. During his time Kawasaki Frontale, he made a total 81 senior appearances in all competitions, scoring 4 occasions, and last term helped his team to the 2025 AFC Champions League final. On the international stage, Kota has featured for Japan across multiple age groups, and in 2024 helped his country to the AFC Under-23 Asian Cup. He also represents his country at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, reaching the quarterfinals of the tournament. In September 2024, he earned his senior debut at the World Cup qualifying fixture against China, earning 4 caps for his country to date. So, yeah, I mean, the famous one in terms of the Champions League run was that semi-final against Al Nassr. The way he absolutely marked Cristiano Ronaldo out of the game was brilliant to see.
Yeah,
You see the highlights reel.
that, and I think Duran was playing in that game as well, Mane as well. So I think as much as he doesn't have like amazing experience when it, Premier League level and stuff like that, they do have some good players in those leagues, and playing in the Champions League, and I think playing as well as he did on that occasion at such a young age still said something about his mentality and the head he's got on his shoulders. So fantastic. Yeah, and look, I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of role he has to play in the squad, how much game time he gets immediately. I think it's going to be key to see how he does in pre-season. He's another player. I know we did our 5 players that could stand out in pre-season. Maybe he could be added to the list now, because I think it's going to be interesting to see. Let's say he has an amazing pre-season. Does that change any stance we have with any of the other centre-backs we have in terms of letting them go, or even being more willing to let Romero go, all these kind of things? So it's going to be I'm very excited to see what he's got to offer in pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of letting Romero go, I mean, if we're willing to let Romero go for a 20-year-old that's coming from the J-League, that would be a few alarm bells, to be honest. But what was interesting for me as well, seeing his last game at Kawasaki on the weekend and how just loved he was by his fans, at 20 years of age to grow such an affinity with the fan base straight away. He's at the end of the game, he's on the PA system with the loudspeaker. They're putting Tadera's to do on the big screens in Japanese. It felt like, watching that, it feels like a club legend of 10 years has been in the club.
It's mad, isn't it? And I think it says a lot when he's getting that sort of reaction at just 20 years of age, and he's getting that kind of hero send-off. And I think a lot of the time you see that with smaller clubs or other clubs who let go of players at such a young age, and I think it says a lot about the player. I remember, I know it's a different situation. Remember, like, Birmingham retired that Bellingham shirt at such a young age, and everyone was like, "What are they doing? Like, is this kid that good?" And then look what he's gone on to become. So I think a lot of the time it says a lot when their own fans, when they're treating a player like him who's only been on the scene for a couple of years like he's an absolute hero and legend. I think says a lot about him, I think.
Agreed. If we go and look at a quick interview with Kota, that was also on the website. So it's, that one. It's in Japan. It's in Japanese, so we can just see. We can't really see the.
We have to move the mouse. Or start. Yeah.
So having arrived in London, I'm full of excitement.
He said he can play right side or left side.
My position is centre back. I can play either right side or left. I was born in Kanagawa, Japan. I've always played football since my childhood. The reasons why I love football is because as a team we can improve our skills together. The J-League has a very high intensity and its level is high.
小さな頃からの夢だったので
I won the Young Player Award last
ピッチ
year
に
and I
立
was
った
very
瞬間と
happy.
ても鳥肌が立ったのは覚えてま
I
す
joined Team Japan. It was always my
J リーグ
dream.
の川崎フロンタ
I
ーレ
remember I
の
had goosebumps when I went on the
土曜
pitch
日
for the
試合を
first time
し
as
て
part of the national
次の
team.
日に飛行機に飛んで今日ここで
I played a match with Kawasaki Frontale at the J League on Saturday
プレミアリーグは
I got on the plane the next day
たくさん見てきました
and I'm here
トッ
today
テナムでは
now.
まずいち早く試合に出場して活躍することが今の
I've always watched the Premier League a
自分の目標
lot since I was little. And Spurs, my first aim is to be on the pitch for a match and do my best. Not the classic new signing saying, "Come on, you Spurs." But,
Yeah, where's the Coys? He's already on for that's a red flag, isn't it? Maybe he maybe did that in another interview, but at least who was it who said, "Come on, the Spurs"? I can't remember.
Davinson
Was that
Sanchez,
Sanchez. Classic. Yeah, but look, welcoming him to the club. Wouldn't it be classic Tottenham though to like sell Romero and do what they and then say like. Remember last summer they said we're not going to sign a midfielder because we're just so blown away by Gray and Bergvall, and then like it would be classic Tottenham and sell Romero and be like we're just so blown away by Takai, like we're not going to sign another centre back.
100%.
I can so see that coming. I can see that
now.
coming all the way.
So not only Kota Takai, but how quickly Radu Dragusin is healing, and Danso only signed 6 months ago. So I mean, you can see it, and when you're looking at the numbers in the squad. You can't really fit in another centre back. Even if Romero goes.
Yeah, that's the trouble. That's the issues we have. And as much as I'm happy for him, and I think it's clearly a talented player, it just does bring up other issues that we can't avoid, and you can't get away from those other issues. And we've added another young, promising centre back to the team when we have a number of them. This is nothing against Takai. We just do. We have Vuskovic, who's been back in training. We have Phillips, who was in training yesterday. 2 very talented centre backs. On top of that, we have another 4, 5 on top of him. So we're bringing Takai. So we now have on the currently who's going to be in training in pre-season. What, 7? Is that am I right?
7, yeah.
7 centre backs who are going to be in training from pre-season. So obviously we can't have 7 going into the new season. So it's going to be a big. That's going to be a big problem that we're going to have to. 8.
8.
5.
If you include Davis.
Yeah, 5 on the first team right now. Romero, Van der Ven, Dragusin, Danso, Takai, Davis. Oh, so 6 in the first team plus Vuskovic and Phillips. Yeah. So we have 8 centre backs in who are going to be probably all on pre-season.
Yeah.
Unless like Phillips or something leaves before.
Yeah, which is mad.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so that just seems like a bit of a ridiculous situation to be in.
Yeah. So I think when you're looking at it, I think the club do need to try and sell Davis at this point, or definitely not involve him in the Champions League squad. I think
Dorrington as well. Is he going to be
Dorrington?
on
Dorrington.
pre-season?
You got to add Dorrington in there as well.
That's
so
9.
That's 9. So I think Dorrington has got to go on loan again. I think Ashley Phillips, as much as I believe in his talent, he's probably going to have to go on loan again. I think Vuskovic, there are rumours of him going to the Bundesliga, so I think he's going to go. So
unless he just blows everyone away in pre-season, interesting.
Well, yeah. He's still very young, though. He's stitle very young. So I think...
What if Vuskovic has a better pre-season than Takai?
Yeah, that's...
You know what you do.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It also depends on what they see behind the scenes as well, not just what we see in the games. But, yeah, it's very, very hard call to make. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know whether we're doing this if we're assuming Romero's leaving. And if Romero does leave, I think all Tottenham fans would say it will be he'll be a disgrace really if we don't replace him with a high level quality defender with a lot of experience. But I mean, are they got this many because they're planning life without Romero and without having to spend big money to replace him? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me.
Frank's come in, right, and he's been like, oh, look at this training ground, look at this stadium, it's like my dream job. And then he looks at the state of the squad about this squad being. He's like, what the hell are you guys doing over here? What kind of operation are you guys running?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So that's the only issue I have with this signing. It's nothing to do with how good Takai is or not. It's just to do with squad planning and the issues it brings up signing another promising centre-back. But I welcome him to the club. I wish him all the best. I'm excited to see what you can do. But I just hope we sort out this issue.
Yeah. We're going to have to. We've got no choice but to sort out the issue.
Unless
there's going to have to be some hard decisions. That's it. There's just going to have to be some hard decisions, and I don't kind of envy the man in Thomas Frank having to make those decisions, because there are going to have to be some disappointed players out there. And I do think Vuskovic is probably going to have to go out on loan with Ashley Phillips and Alfie Dorrington.
Is there a possibility someone like Dragoshin stays around but isn't included in the squad if we sign another centre back on top, if we sell Romero, something like that?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It also depends on how far along he's in his development and how quickly they think he can get to the top level.
Yeah, it's difficult, very difficult. But yeah, welcome Takai. And also, he becomes the most expensive export from the J League. So we have that to our name, a record. We've got the most expensive signing in J League history, only 5 million. But there you go. Welcome, Kota.
Yeah, welcome, Kota Takai. Great to have you here, and let's hope we get some more signings now. And just like London buses, one signing comes. Let's hope another one is going to come this week as well, or at least a here we go. That would be nice. But that's Kota Takai. Let's go and get into a Tottenham update. But just before we do that, we got 900 people in here with us at this moment in time. So I want to say big up to each and every one of you. Thank you all for joining us today. We've got a lot of news to get through today. So let's get straight into it. And let's start off talking about the coaching staff at Tottenham Hotspur. As you know, Sim gave you an update about it on the weekend, but there has been further developments. So Tottenham's Director of Performance Services, Adam Brett, and Head of Sports Science, Nick Davis, have both left the club. They've only been in their roles for 1 year. And Paul O'Keefe says that the now departed Director of Performance Services, Adam Brett, went on holiday mid-season last year, 24-25, during our worst ever injury crisis. And it was his first year in the job. Have you ever heard anything more crazy than that?
Literally, all hands on deck. Everyone was probably literally running around the place, going crazy. The place is on fire. He's like, yeah, I need a break. I need a break from this. Yeah, you get yourselves fit, lads. Which is madness to hear that kind of what we were dealing with internally. Which makes me think. We saw this. Matt Law was on last one on Spurs. I wonder if this is some of the stuff he was alluding to, because he said he was talking about obviously the Ange sacking, and he said he had to deal with some stuff internally, which if people knew about, it would blow their minds. He said, I wonder if this is part of that.
It could very well be, because that is just preposterous, man. It really is. He's the director of the performance services, and half the squad is injured. And he's just like, yeah, I'm going as well, mate. Yeah. I can't be asked for this.
Madness, absolute madness. Well, in that case, good riddance. And obviously,
that's got to be Scott Munn's guys, right?
Yeah, and we know about obviously the problems we had with the medical team last season. But it's mad that. I think we're poaching a lot of them from Brentford now. Yeah. I think we'll get into that. But yeah, so some of the coaches have left. And we've been told about a big shake-up, and I think we're starting to see it.
Yeah, definitely starting to see it. Jay Harris from The Athletic says that Tom Perryman has joined Tottenham from Brentford as the strength and conditioning coach. Nick Stubbings has also left Brentford to become medical lead at Spurs. So the actual number of staff now that have followed Thomas Frank from Brentford to Tottenham is 5. So
5 is mental. It's a proper stripping of the.
We've proper guided them.
Madness.
So the only one pretty much that we didn't take is the guy that's now manager, who was the set piece coach last season. So Justin Cochrane, who's first team assistant coach, Chris Howsam, who's head of performance and first team assistant coach, Andreas Jorgensen, who's first team assistant coach, Joe Newton, who's now first team coach analyst, Matt Wells, who's stayed on as first team assistant coach, Cameron Campbell is the first team individual development coach, Fabian Otte, who's the first team goalkeeper coach, Tom Perryman, who we just spoke about, is strength and conditioning coach, and Nick Stubbings, medical lead coach. So that is the team that is heading up the new look Spurs coaching staff under Thomas Frank. Which is really interesting to me is the club have now promoted Stuart Lewis from under 18s head coach to first team academy transition coach, which is a brand new role within the club. And I think that is something that we've needed desperately for so long. That kind of pathway from the academy to the first team has been missing. There's been something broken there. And I think having someone overseeing that, and someone that knows the academy so well, in the under-18s coach who's won like 2 or 3 titles in the last 2 or 3 years, I think it's brilliant.
100%. And I think now's the time to bring in that kind of role, because we've got unbelievable amounts of talent. I think the club are looking at the situation, and I think especially the hierarchy, I reckon they're looking at it, they're like, we got so much talent right now. Donnelly, Lancashire, wherever I can go on, the list is endless. We've got so much Mikey Moore, so much unbelievable talent. Like, how can we get these guys into the first team more regularly? How can we transition them? How can we make use of them? Because right now, we just haven't been able to make the most out of that talent, especially in years gone by. We've let players go and things haven't gone right when it comes to transitioning a lot of our talent into the first team. I think they're looking at the situation now like, we can't waste this. We can't. We have to try our best to integrate them as best as possible. And if that means literally having a new role in our coaching style, which is solely focused on getting these players integrated in the first team, then that needs to be done, because I think that's something that's been neglected for so long. But I also do wonder whether that's happening, but as well is how can you've got this role in the team, and we've got so much talent. How do you juxtapose that with getting the squad to a level which is competitive and getting signings through the door and all this kind of stuff? Because we've got such an unbelievable amount of talent that, as I've said before, if you're taking the decision, we need to integrate them, like we really believe in them, there has to be some tough decisions made. Do you trust them or do you not? And if you do trust them, then sometimes you have to make a tough decision. Okay, we're not going to sign a player in that position. We are going to trust these players. And it's going to be very difficult to decide how we kind of go along with that if we're making a conscious decision to integrate certain members into the first team.
Yeah, and it'll be an interesting way to see which way they do approach it. And I do expect to see a lot more kind of academy players get minutes next season. I'm not saying they're going to be starting week in, week out, but maybe the likes of Jamie Donnelly will stay around, and the ones that are really ready for men's football, you'll see them get significant game time next season. But yeah, it'll be hard. It's hard to know like how they're actually going to manage it, but having a specific role for it shows that they're coming up with some sort of plan.
Yeah, that's really encouraging. At least they're acknowledging there's an issue here in terms of integrating these players into the first team and getting them more minutes, and we want to fix that issue. And right now is the time to do it, 100% with all the talent we have. So I'm very happy with that. But yeah, as you say, Brentford gutting their coaching staff, or 5 members of their coaching staff.
Plus their manager.
I mean, that's got to be a bad one to take for Brentford. But I don't know how we look at it. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, it's a good thing. I guess Frank has all his people around him, but then we're literally just taking all the Brentford coaching staff. Like, are we just Brentford? Like, can we not get higher quality people than Brentford can get?
Well, I think it's definitely a massive step up to what we had last year. I mean, we had unexperienced coaches in Mile Jedinak and the guys that were on the coaching team last year. Now you're looking at Justin Cochrane, who's got a massive future ahead of him in terms of coaching. He's a very highly rated coach. You've got Matt Wells as well, who's very highly rated. And I think the coaching staff at Brentford, obviously Thomas Frank knows them very well, has worked with them for a number of years now, and he trusts them. So I think the job that they did at Brentford was absolutely phenomenal. He punched above his weight for Brentford for so long. And I assume that that's the plan to do at Tottenham.
No, of course. I'm just saying we're literally taking everyone from Brentford. Like, Brentford are, even with their coaching staff, they're running on a budget. Let's say the sports science people, all this kind of stuff. They might be the best in class. I've got no idea. Maybe they are amazing. But was the plan to literally just turn our whole coaching staff into the whole Brentford coaching staff? Or was it? Well, clearly it was. But is that what we want to see? Or do we want Frank to come in with a few trusted people and also with a bigger budget to get the best in class in everywhere? I don't know.
What we want is the manager to come in and to believe in his methods and go in the direction that Frank wants to go in. And if he believes that these guys are the right guys to take the club forward, and he trusts them, and he's worked with them before, and he's done a really good job with them before, then that's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no problem with it. It's just interesting that we're turning everything into Brentford, essentially.
Yeah.
But we haven't signed any players yet. But yeah, that's got to be the main thing, which you want to be improvement on, where the budget should go.
But you look at it like Pochettino. Like, when we got Pochettino, we brought all his staff pretty much from Southampton as well.
I think we brought 2, didn't we? Just him and Ed.
No, it wasn't just 2 there. There was some coaches behind the scenes as well. His sons came along from Southampton. There was some more guys behind the scenes. So it wasn't just the 2 that we saw on the bench all the time. There was a few more than that. So, coaches have their team. And it's not just maybe the assistant coaches, but all the medical science and everything surrounding it, They just have a team that they trust. And I think that's the same here with Frank.
Yeah, fair.
Let's move on and let's talk about another confirmed deal from Tottenham Hotspur today, and that is Alejo Veliz has joined Rosario Central on loan for the campaign 25-26. They say good luck, Alejo. Alistair Gold says that it is going to be a straight loan that contains no obligation, no option to sign him permanently. Is expected to have a recall option for Veliz in January should the club want him back or have an offer to sell him in January.
Yeah, which is interesting. I doubt we're going to want him to come in and
It'll be
play.
more for a sale, won't it?
Yeah, I would probably think that. But yeah, good luck to him. We've said it. We've been talking about this before. We actually videoed in training yesterday, interestingly enough, and this deal looks like it's got over the line very quickly. I think a straight loan is probably not what Tottenham wanted. I think we probably wanted something more permanent, but looks like there wasn't many suited for that. So I guess his Tottenham career lives to fight another day when it's only a loan deal. So we'll see how he gets on. Obviously, back with home comforts where he kind of burst onto the scene. So hopefully this kind of gives him that confidence boost he needs where his career has really been stagnating and he can get back to, how he was a couple of years ago when he was performing really well for them. So good luck to him. We'll wait and see whether he's made his last appearance in the Tottenham shirt or not. But
I'm pretty sure he has.
You never know. Yeah, probably, but you never know. Football's a funny old game. You think
a funny old game.
Things can change. So if he smashes it out, maybe he'll come back. You never know.
Maybe.
But good luck to him, and wish him all the best.
Be lining up against Angel Di Maria for the first half of next season, who's also joined Rosario Central, but he has gone back to where he came from, and this smells very much like the Brian Hill saga, doesn't it? Like Brian Hill, we brought him in with that stupid deal with Eric Lamela, 20 million plus Lamela, and then he ended up back at his old club with a loans free of no obligation or no option, and Veliz has done exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Let's talk about Kota Romero now. As Alistair Gold says that Tottenham have not received a new or recent bid for Kota Romero. He is expected back at pre-season at Hotspur Way later this week. Thomas Frank is understood to be excited about working with Romero and wants him in his backline this season. But a journalist out in Argentina, David Medina, says that Atletico Madrid will not meet Tottenham's current asking price of 70 million euros. Atletico is hoping that Romero's desire to join the club will impose itself and that he will force Spurs to lower his demands. In terms of Ali Gold's update, it's very obvious. It's expected that the line coming out of Tottenham and the club is going to be like, Frank is excited to work with him, and he's there's no chance of it, but there's no bid, there's no negotiations, no nothing right now. Where the reports out of Argentina have always been that Atletico and Spurs are quite close or getting closer. Well, this one doesn't say that. It'll just say Atletico will not meet Spurs' demands.
I think it's all a bit of posturing when it comes to all this in the media. I think there'll have to be some compromise on both ends. I think when it says they're not going to come to Tottenham's demands for 70 million, but you don't know what that really means. Does that mean they only want 70 million in straight cash, but they're willing to go there with add-ons and they're willing to meet that? Or does it mean they're not willing to go to 70 million in a total figure? Are Tottenham willing to accept 70 million in a total figure, or do they want 70 million included add-ons? Who knows what the truth is? I think there's always a lot of kind of posturing with these reports. You don't really know. It's all about the key details when it comes to these deals. But I reckon there'll be some compromise. I think the big element here for me is that Romero has got 2 years left on his deal. He's unlikely to sign. And in those situations, Tottenham will, I think, compromise a bit when it comes to selling. I'm not saying they'll agree a ridiculously low fee. Of course not. But I think if Atletico could get close to, if Tottenham are demanding 70 million euros, if Atletico get close in a straight cash deal to like 60 million and then 10 million in realistic add-ons, or even 65 and 5 million, something like that, or even close, 60 and 5 million in add-ons, which are realistic, I think Tottenham will compromise on that. I don't think they're going to not sell him for the sake of 5 million when he's got 2 years left. That's the feeling I get, especially given the fact Romero wants to go, and he wants to go to Spain and Atletico Madrid. So I think that plays a heavy factor in it as well. So I think there will be an agreement done, but I think obviously right now, while there's negotiations, you're going to hear conflicting things. You're going to hear the Spurs side saying they're nowhere near the price. You're going to hear Atletico putting pressure on Tottenham and getting Romero, giving him itchy feet by saying, oh, the deal's close, you just got to give him a nudge. You're going to hear both sides. So it's hard to obviously know where the truth is. Probably the truth lies somewhere in the middle, as usually things do. But I reckon, I don't know when it will be, if it will be a while or be soon, but I reckon there'll be a compromise on both sides.
I've got a feeling that maybe Atletico at this moment in time might be like, you know what, screw this. We know his contract's running down. We know he wants to join at some point. Maybe they just wait a year and wait for him to go for 1 year left, and maybe then they can get the price that they want at that point.
They could, but they're also risking other players coming into the party with 1 year left, and you don't know. Right now, it seems as though Madrid have just signed Heisen, so they're not really looking for it. And I don't know how much money Barca have to spend, all these different things. Right now, Atletico seem to have a bit of a clear run due to circumstance, but will that be the same situation in a year's time? I think you're running that risk, and I think Atletico really want him. Why wait? They want him now. I don't know if they're willing to wait a year. Maybe they will. I mean, I think they'll prefer to have him now if I was
Obviously,
them.
they'd prefer to have him now, but I'm saying that the negotiations with Tottenham and Daniel Levy, which can be like getting blood out of the stone, might just, the way they might be thinking is, look, it's just going to be so much easier to negotiate with them next year, and we can actually get him for the price that we want to pay.
You're also risking him signing a new deal.
Yeah, that's also true.
You never know how he gets on with Frank. Maybe they have a match made in heaven and his mindset completely changes. You're also risking that. Right now, there's an opportunity.
Look, I'm not saying there's no risk, but I'm just saying that the negotiations will just be a lot easier if it does get to that point.
Yeah, I'd agree. But I wouldn't. If I was Atletico, I wouldn't risk it.
Yeah. But look, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. If he does join Atletico, I do feel it's going to be like a last week of the window job. I think this one's going to rumble on for quite some time. But we'll see how it progresses. But at this moment in time, Ali Gold is saying that no new bid has gone in for Cuti Romero. In other news, Tottenham are in conversations to acquire Juventus forward Dusan Vlahovic, who is expected to be available for £13 million.
Is that it?
Vlahovic scored 17 goals and provided 5 assists in all competition last season, and is one of several players Juve are looking to offload as he enters the final year of his contract.
Yeah, I don't really believe that report. I don't believe Tottenham. He's on monster wages, isn't he?
Yeah, 325.
Yeah, we're not. No chance. No chance we give him anywhere near that.
I don't think anyone gives him anywhere near that. To be honest.
I think he's probably, that's the worry you have when you put a player on that contract, is that you can't shift them because they're refusing to take a pay cut unless you subsidise the wages. I haven't been that impressed with him, to be honest, at Juve. I think he started off quite well, but for one reason or another, it just hasn't gone quite right. They've been looking to ship him for a while, to be honest, it seems, for like at least a year. So
Still gets goals, though.
he does get goals, to be fair. I don't think he's a bad player. Don't get me wrong.
He's still only 25 as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm not that bothered about getting him in or not. I think it's one of those where I think that he's got a lot of qualities. He's got a very good left foot. I really like his left foot, and physically he's decent, but he does miss a lot of chances. And I feel like for Juve, it just hasn't. He's never really hit the ground running. But then again, it's hard to judge because Juve have been a bit of a mess for the past few years. So a lot of good players have kind of been and gone there, and not got, it hasn't gone right for a lot of them. But yeah, I'm not convinced he's like a top
Wasn't exactly
striker.
going right for Decky at Juventus in the last year before we bought him as well. And he's come here and he's one of the fan favourites.
Mm-hmm. Look, yeah, there's always also that situation. You never know.
But he's scored he's been at Juventus for 4 years now, right? In his first year, his goal return was pretty poor, but for 3 years after that, he's got double digits of goals in the last 3 years. I think that's a pretty decent return.
It's okay. And what's double digits like? Is it 20, 10?
No, the highest he's got in the La Liga is 16.
in Serie A.
Yeah, in Serie A.
16. I mean, that's okay. It's not like amazing. Yeah, it's good. That's a decent return. It's not like outstanding. I wouldn't pay massive wages for that.
No. They signed him for 80 million.
Yes, it was mad. So
He's not been worth 80 million, but I do think
very high
Vlahovic,
sought after.
I really believe Vlahovic, there's definitely a lot of value there, and I think he can be a very good player if he gets his head right and gets into a team that plays to his strengths and everything like that. Like you said, Juventus have been an absolute shit show over the last 2 or 3 years. I just can't see... I can't look at any Juventus player and being like, look, you've been standout player for the last 3 years. Maybe Yildiz, but that's about it. Like, who out of Juventus can you tell me has been absolute standout?
I'm looking as well. He does every year seem to underperform his expected goals, which tells me his finishing is not good. Which is interesting because at Fiorentina he overperformed them by quite a bit, but at Juve he's been quite badly underperforming him. So his finishing's gone downhill for some reason by quite significant.
Yeah, they've just got Jonathan David in as well. So that's another reason why he's fallen a bit further behind the pecking order. I do believe he's a very good player, and I think at 13 million, if that report is true and we can agree some sort of wages with him, I do think there's some sort of value there. If like we bring in a Vlahovic to replace a Richarlison, but I
just feel like
I just can't see it happening.
I feel like he would flop. I just get that feeling. It's just classic flop kind of material.
I think he'll do well. I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong. But look, that is Vlahovic. Matt Law is saying that Tottenham have discussed internally a move for Kyle Walker-Peters, but the current belief, however, is that a deal will not be pursued, which is very interesting. Are they going to go in for Dennis Serkin, or are they just going to go with a man down in the squad?
Yeah, that's the reality. I was just assuming, Walker-Peters just makes so much sense. But if they really think it's not worth doing, it's worth having a man down there having Walker-Peters, and that's the decision they got to make. But it's interesting. I read a report in the Athletic saying Tottenham are exploring a left back in the window, which I just don't understand where we're fitting everyone in. It just doesn't make sense to me. So if it's not going to be Kyle Walker-Peters, if we are going to sign left back, does that mean we're not signing a midfielder or we're not signing a forward? Because we can't sign everyone. We have to make a decision there if that's what we're going to do. But I wouldn't prioritise a left back when we have the players that we do have. I'd rather keep Davis, to be honest, and prioritise a centre back or a forward, than go out in the market and sign a left back with what we have in the squad. So. And I'd definitely rather bring Kyle Walker-Peters in to play backup than do that. But if they're not going to pursue it, I just wonder how they're going to manage this whole situation. Again, it's just we're in a very precarious situation right now. We've been through it on video many, many times. We've exacerbated it now with Kota staying. There's now even rumours of Son staying, which I've got, again, no problem with, but it does cause issues within the team and within the squad planning. We did a video a few weeks ago assuming that Davis, no Kota, and Son, Davis and Son were leaving. Kota wasn't coming. We didn't assume that, right?
Basuma
Richarlison. And at that point, we needed to sell 2 players, and then it's sell to buy. Then Kota's comes in, which makes it 3 players we need to sell before just to meet the numbers. So you have to look at the squad now. 3 players have to leave.
Solomon and people like that.
Yeah. So right now you're looking at the on 3 players have to leave just to fit the Champions League squad. So after 3. So if you want to sign 2 players, we need to sell 5.
Yeah,
we need to sell 5. It's madness. Who's the 5 players we're selling right now? I don't know how it's going to work. I really don't.
Yeah,
it's maddening.
And last but not least, we're going to talk about Ademola Lookman, as there's a report that says Tottenham are one of 3 Premier League sides interested in Lookman. 27-year-old outstanding 24-25 campaign, which saw him score 15 goals, provide 5 assists, has not gone unnoticed back in England. Lookman is of interest of both Forest and Villa, as well as his future in Bergamo looks to be in doubt. Premier League sides willing to fight for him. The Serie A club are open to accepting offers in the region of 38.7 to 51.6 million pounds. So Lookman's future did look in serious doubt, didn't it, when he had that whole thing with Gasperini last year? Obviously, Gasperini's gone now. So maybe he is more willing to stay at Atalanta. I do believe there's an issue with the contract. Has he got 1 more year or something?
Got 2 more years.
2 more years. So it's still a fair amount on it. But, 1 more year, and then they look to probably decrease that price quite heavily. But he's had an unbelievable year at Atalanta. Unbelievable couple of years, I think. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, ever since he's gone there, I think he's been there 3 years now, and each season he's getting regular goal contributions. Obviously scored a hat-trick in the Europa League final against Leverkusen a year ago, which was one of the best probably final performances we've seen in a European final, especially the level of goals he scored on that day. He's really come into his own out in Italy. He's really found a home there, and he's become a real quality top level I think more of an inside forward. He gets regular goal contributions, such a great finisher. Very similar to, he does remind me a bit of someone like Son, who's very good at finding those angles, very good at shooting from distances, good finisher, not like the most unbelievable dribbler, but he's good and physical enough. He can get away from opponents, and once he gets in position, he's can be quite ruthless in that finish. So I think there's definitely a very good player there. I would say probably with the wingers we have, he's of quite a similar profile to Atel and a Son. So I don't know if it makes sense to bring him in as a winger for us. I think we probably want someone a bit different if we're signing a left winger again. And as well, I'd rather bring in a right winger. He's not really one who to play on the right. Much more plays on the left. So I doubt we're really seriously interested, to be honest.
Yeah. 27 years of age as well. I did think he was a bit younger than that. If he's coming in at 27, he's probably looking to come in and start it and commanding, a starting role, unlike Tell, who'd be happy with maybe squad rotation. And if Son is staying,
it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
It only makes sense if he's leaving, really.
Yeah. But look, that is it from us in terms of a Tottenham update. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding all the news stories we brought to you today. Hopefully we get some more news as the day progresses. But big up to all 1,164 people in here in the live chat. Everyone do go and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, as next we will be reacting to Thomas Frank's first ever training, a documented training session anyway.
Training on the pitch. We did fitness training.
Led by Justin Cochrane as well, which was really interesting. So let's go and have a look at it.
Okay. So let's just maybe skip all the fitness stuff. But I think it's important to note Decky there, which is he's clearly back, and also Porro coming back apparently earlier than expected, seeing he was on international duty.
Porro was the first one back.
He was the first one back, so the man's man's mentality is unmatched. I think
the guy's a beast. He's a tank, mate. He's an absolute tank. Played the most minutes out of everyone in Europe or something last season, and then he's come back first, and he's in the gym literally on his own, just waiting for all his teammates to come back. I love it.
So this is them
still looking
running.
Fairly empty at Hotspur Way. Still a lot more players still to come back.
Yeah, you got a lot of main players. There's Porro. It's interesting. We're going to react to a video they did about before and after running, and Porro looks like he barely broke a sweat.
And on.
The other players are completely dead. But yeah, look, this is quite interesting. You can see here Abbott leading the way, it seems, in the running. And apparently, according to Lily White Rose, he recorded the fastest time.
Yeah.
So, which is really interesting.
Obviously, 1 kilometre.
Rave reviews. He got on loan, and obviously plays in that central midfield position, which commands a lot of stamina. So I think that's quite interesting. And maybe he'll look at that physicality of Abba and think, wow, is that something that we can really use?
Yeah, 100%.
Is he going to be our Monster 6?
Very well could be, but you look at all these players, they look pretty dead, to be honest. Lancashire, Spence before Dom. Dom looks all right. And Thomas Frank just laughing. Vuskovic. It's good to have Vuskovic.
It's funny. It's funny right now with training, because obviously, obviously those are rumours. Don't want to bring back to Andrew. The rumours the players aren't going to be happy with Ange, all that kind of stuff. But none of these players really worked on that much under Ange, did they? You know, they're all out on loan and stuff. So a lot of these players are going to be, you know, it's going to be a kind of new thing for them, like working with the first team.
Yeah, but I'm still sure they had a lot of interaction with Ange, and but you still have Dom there, you have Porro there. Is that it? And Spence.
Dom Porro, Spence. There's Yang, seems to be absolutely finished.
Spence as well.
So for first team players, it's Dom, Porro and Spence. That's all we have. That's what matters. Vicario?
Yeah. And Vicario, yeah.
And obviously Decky's there, but he's Veliz like done. I'm done. All your time at Tottenham's done, mate.
I'm done. Get me to Argentina.
So I think they actually did some stuff with the ball at one point. And that was that was nice to see. Quick one there, just quick shot there of Bergvall. So looks like is that him fully back in training then? We think.
I'd assume so.
Looks like he's back with the team, doesn't it?
They said wasn't he touch and go for the final?
Well, that was just bullshit rumours. No one actually
was it not true?
That. I don't really think so, but he wasn't that far away, I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah. I think Ange said if the final would have been 2 weeks later.
Yeah, so this you'd assume.
Well, not quite touch and go, but yeah.
Yeah, but still 2 weeks, you'd assume.
But even when the wing back was like in the wing position. Under Ange was a bit different, but also not great, because his philosophy was like, just get it back in as soon as possible. But that kind of leads to like rush decisions a lot of the time, panic. And so we know that Frank definitely did a lot of good work with Brentford on all these marginal games, and I think throws were definitely, it wasn't just long throws, there was all these different things.
Do you think we're going to implement long throws?
Maybe, I don't know. Who would take them? I don't even know.
Who would take a doggy?
Yeah, I don't know who has a long. I've never really seen anyone take a long throw at Tottenham. I don't even know who would it be. Does anyone know in the chat? Anyone seen a long throw?
Spurs haven't done a long throw since I can remember. Since Gareth Bale.
Gareth Bale used to do. Yeah, he used to have a good throw. Yeah.
So I think all the other players are going to start filtering through over the next week or so.
Yeah, I think they said people like Romero are due back later this week. So here's Cochrane talking to the players. A lot of people on social media were very happy about this.
Yeah, people are saying that finally Spurs are actually getting some coaching.
Yeah, I'm sure the coaches never spoke to the players over the last 2 years. It's the first time they've ever spoken.
Ange was never on the coaching ground, apparently, on the training ground.
This isn't Ange, this isn't Frank.
Yeah, but you can see Frank right there.
We saw pictures of Frank on the training ground.
On Ange?
Ange, sorry, yeah.
But Ange was known for not being on the training ground very much.
I'm sure he knew what was going on.
And Poch as well. Poch actually was used to sit in his office with the screens. He used to watch training from in his office.
They used to call it Big Brother.
Yeah.
But apparently that was only later on when it was. Apparently I remember reading the article that said that was like later on when things were going wrong or something.
It's Dane, Alfie.
It's interesting. I don't know. Could he? Cochrane name dropped Vuskovic in his little speech. Is that subconsciously because he's got him in his plans?
What did he say?
He was just talking about patterns of play and stuff, and he was like, you know, if what did he say? Let's just talk about Bergvall. He was like, when if Dominic is pressing Porro and he's got Luca to his left, you know, you got to make certain movements and stuff.
I don't think it suggests anything, to be honest. I think he's just working with the players he's got there.
Subconscious. It's in your subconscious, maybe. What can you read into it? He didn't say Phillips.
No, he didn't say Phillips.
Are they the only two centre backs there? Yeah, I guess so. So there's Veliz.
Where's Radu's back as well, but he's not on the grass
doesn't
yet.
Seem to be on grass. Maybe it's too soon for him. It's Donnelly.
Jamie.
Got a big pre-season ahead.
It's going to be interesting with a lot of these young players, man. Like a lot of them as well that Thomas Frank knew and wanted. Will Lancashire, Cochrane has worked with so many of them before in the past. So it's going to be a very interesting summer to see what happens.
So that was that, and then there was this video Tottenham put out. If I get it up, where is it?
It's just on the shorts.
I think I liked it. So this is Porro before the run. This is something Tottenham put out. So look how he's barely tired there. This is Dom. Look, Dom has barely broken a sweat. That could have been before the run. And he got
Phillips is dead. Yang.
Then Yang.
Oh god, he's dead as well.
Struggling.
Let's see what Spencer's like.
Yeah, he's chilly.
Half.
Bit out of breath.
Yeah. Easy work, light work for Jed. Let's see what George Abbott was like. Yeah, it's okay.
Not too bad. Bit out of breath as well, but not
Bit
too
hot and
bad.
sweaty.
Phillips is the one who was absolutely dying.
Phillips.
Absolutely loved that. So yeah, I guess what can we take away from his first training session? I think Abbott's an interesting one. With the amount of running, he's clearly very capable. So I think a lot of it as well, the difference between Premier League level and all the other levels. Obviously, technically is a big difference, but I think physically, that is a big difference. I think that's like one of the major differences when you're comparing, which is why I think when you have these like cup games and stuff, sometimes they're level pegging up until like the last 20 minutes, and the other team just can't keep up because Premier League is just such a different physical. And so if Abbott I know he's only with the other younger players, but if he's ahead of them, it's interesting. I think that could be very interesting.
I mean, it's great for his running and stamina and everything like that, but you still need to be at the physical levels to be able to compete with men in the men's football. You know what I mean?
Of course. I'm just the fact that he had the best running stats on the day.
And it might be because he was playing he was playing at men's football last year and he excelled.
And also technically, some of the goals he was scoring as well, you could see that the guy's got good technical ability as well. He's not just guy who just runs around a lot with nothing about him. I mean, the throw-ins maybe. Positive. But are we going to start working on throw-ins?
I'm sure we will.
That's something that definitely needs work.
I think you're going to see all set pieces from throw-ins, free kicks, corners, defensively and offensively. I think they're going to massively improve next season.
Yeah, and I saw that little speech from Cochrane. He was talking about getting out of pressing situations and also focusing on those passes down the line into the striker, which I think could be focused on a bit more with Solanke, the guy we have there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all these things get implemented. Yeah. He said it's only the first day, so he said these things will all improve after the first day. But yeah, look, it's all exciting. Hopefully more players get filtered in over the week, and we'll see more engaging training footage.
Absolutely. So it's good to have proper coaching staff on board finally, to get the players coached in a proper way. And
you always have to have a little dig at Ange. Always.
I wasn't a dig at Ange.
That was a dig at Ange.
That wasn't a dig at Ange. That was a dig at Ange's coaching staff.
All right, fair enough.
And actually, we know Ange's coaching staff is nowhere near at the level as what we're having now. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I assume so. I mean, I would hope so. To be honest,
and not just the staff, but also the conditioning and medical staff that Munn brought in over the last year.
Yeah, that is going to be hopefully a big improvement.
I think the caliber of forget the manager, but I think the caliber of the men behind the managers, I think, are a lot higher now, and I think that's very much welcome. So I think
it's all change. It's all change.
So I'm very excited to see what that brings and how much of a level raiser that can be.
But I do wonder
what we see on the pitch
when you implement all this stuff, like medical and all this stuff. Is that like an instant change, or does this stuff take time to get implemented and take time to reap the benefits of? I don't really know, to be honest. But
yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, but it's hard because these guys we just sacked have only been in the job for a year.
Yeah.
So if it does take time, how do we know that unless we give it time? Unless it doesn't, and you're supposed to see.
I mean, you would assume like people working on the ground is just an instant impact. You would assume that.
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest.
But anyway, that is us reacting to Thomas Frank's first training session. Let us know anything that you noticed in the comments section below. We have a couple of super chats, I believe, to get through. One from Charlie Vale, a member for 20 months, and he says, I've seen enough. We're winning the league.
Exactly. End the season now. Just give us the trophy.
Let's not end it now because we're sitting like 17th or 18th right now.
Oh, fair.
Favorite hero with the super chat says, "Happy Sonny Day, what a legend."
Happy. So, we didn't mention that Kudus news.
What, from CNH?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how reliable that is or how.
Yeah, but it's been reported a few places. Maybe something to mention. There was a report from, I believe, what are they, West Ham ITK?
It's a West Ham publication that basically is saying that West Ham, they're not sure if Spurs are going to come in with another offer, basically.
Yeah, they're saying they're unsure if Tottenham are going to improve their bid.
But I don't think there's really any news in that.
Well,
it's just West Ham's thinking of what Tottenham are going to do.
But most reports there's some reports from ex-West Ham employees saying West Ham are expecting an improved bid. So if they're not expecting a bid,
so,
they have doubts.
West Ham with complete conflicting reports. So I mean, what do you take from it?
I just think it's, again, similar to the Romero thing. It's probably a bit of a negotiation tactic. I think it's Tottenham maybe being a bit quiet for a day or two, just to get them a bit nervous about what they're going to do, and so when they put in the next offer, they're maybe not as sure
if Tottenham are quiet for a day or two. Why would they
maybe longer than a day or two?
They suddenly think that Spurs are not going to come in again.
Maybe longer than a day or two.
Yeah, I don't know how reliable that report is, to be honest.
I think those are definitely a negotiation tactic to kind of make the buyer, especially in someone in West Ham's position, where they need to sell Kudus, right? And at the moment, Tottenham are the one who are only really seriously interested. There's reports of other clubs coming in, but no one's made a bid, only Tottenham at the moment. So if they're relying on Tottenham to buy him, then it's a negotiation tactic to kind of put doubt into West Ham whether you are going to make another improved bid. So when you do, they're less inclined to kind of bargain with that bid.
I just feel you're reading a bit too much into it. I don't really think there's anything into what this guy's saying. If you're going to believe anything coming out of West Ham, I would believe West Ham ex-employee. I mean, he's tried and tested in the West Ham space, and he's the one that says, West Ham are expecting another bid from Tottenham. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this report from, what was it, CNH or something like that. So I don't think there's nothing to speak about here, to be honest, about that. And wait for
that's
something
just a report.
more
I
reliable.
think it could generally be a negotiation tactic from Tottenham to put doubt in West Ham's mind.
Maybe. Cullen Jale says, we need homegrown signings. No? Kudus worth the dollar? Yes, we need homegrown signings, but there's just no one of the required quality that we can get as someone. I mean, the only two are Sirkin and Walker-Peters, and yes, it's in a position that we need, but is it of the quality we need? It's very much debatable.
Yeah, that's the problem. We've got a real pickle in our hands when it comes to this.
In terms of Kudus worth the money, I mean, yes, I do think he's worth the money. I think he offers something that this squad doesn't have in terms of his attributes. In a position that we need, and he raises the level of the front line. I think he automatically, after Son, is the highest quality winger at the club.
Yeah, I think he's worth it for sure. I'm very excited about Kudus. Obviously, we want him to show a better, higher level than he did last season, but I think he's more than capable of that. We know he is.
Yeah. All right, so I think that is all we have time for today. So obviously, if any news does break throughout the course of the day, we will bring it to you first here on We Are Tottenham TV. But thank you everyone for joining us today, and a happy Sonny Day to you all. Happy birthday, Sonny. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.